Imagine a sweltering jungle airfield in the heart of the Pacific War, where American pilots in their mighty P-38 Lightnings faced an enemy that danced through the skies like ghosts. When P-38s couldn't turn, this one stupid fix made them legends. It was August 17, 1943, at Dobodura Airfield on the northeastern coast of New Guinea. The men of the 5th Air Force, particularly the 49th Fighter Group, were locked in a brutal aerial campaign against the Imperial Japanese Navy's agile Mitsubishi A6M0s. These twin-engine American fighters, with their distinctive twin-boom design and powerful Allison V1710 engines, were fast and heavily armed, boasting 4.50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns and a 20mm Hispano cannon concentrated in the nose. But in the twisting dogfights over the Solomon Islands, they were being outmaneuvered and shot down at alarming rates. Little did these pilots know, a simple act of ingenuity on the ground would soon rewrite the rules of engagement high above. To understand the desperation of that moment, we must step back to the broader canvas of the Pacific Theater in mid-1943. The Allies had launched Operation Cartwheel, a multi-pronged offensive aimed at isolating the Japanese stronghold at Rabaul on New Britain. New Guinea, with its rugged mountains, dense jungles, and relentless monsoon rains, served as a vital stepping stone. Control of the skies was paramount, as Japanese bombers and fighters from bases like La and Wewak threatened Allied shipping and ground forces pushing northward. Enter the Lockheed P-38 Lightning, a revolutionary aircraft designed in 1939 by engineers Hall Hibbard and Kelly Johnson. Capable of speeds over 400 miles per hour and altitudes exceeding 40,000 feet, it was equipped with tricycle landing gear, turbo superchargers for high-altitude performance, and a range of up to 1,300 miles with drop tanks, ideal for long escort missions over vast ocean expanses. Yet, its high wing loading of about 53 pounds per square foot made it less agile in horizontal turns compared to the Zero, which boasted a wing loading of just 22 pounds per square foot and could execute impossibly tight loops and rolls. The main characters in this drama were not generals or aces, but everyday heroes. Technical Sergeant James McKenna, a 28-year-old mechanic from Chicago assigned to the 5th Air Force's maintenance crews. McKenna had joined the Army Air Forces in 1941, bringing his pre-war experience as an auto mechanic to the sweltering hangars of Dobodura. His counterpart in the air was First Lieutenant Robert Hayes, a 23-year-old pilot from Texas with only 6 combat missions under his belt and no confirmed kills. Hayes flew with the 9th Fighter Squadron of the 49th Fighter Group, a unit that had already suffered heavy losses since arriving in the Pacific in 1942. The strategic situation was dire. In the 6 weeks leading up to August 1943, the 5th Air Force had lost 37 P-38s in aerial combat, many attributed to pilot error in official reports. But pilots whispered of a deeper flaw, a sluggish response in the ailerons, the control surfaces on the wings that initiated rolls and turns. Fear gripped the men as they taxied out each dawn, knowing that engaging a Zero in a turning fight was often a death sentence. The Japanese pilots, seasoned veterans from carriers like the Zuikaku, exploited this weakness mercilessly, baiting Americans into low-speed maneuvers where the Lightning's advantages in speed and climb evaporated. Why was this moment critical? Air superiority over New Guinea meant protecting the Allied advance toward the Philippines. Lose it, and the entire campaign could stall, prolonging the war by months or years. Against this backdrop, McKenna's routine inspection of Hayes's P-38, serial number 42 to 66,789, would uncover a flaw that had eluded Lockheed's engineers back in Burbank, California. By early August 1943, the heat at Dobodura was oppressive, with temperatures soaring to 95 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity that soaked through flight suits before pilots even climbed into their cockpits. The airfield, carved from the jungle just months earlier, buzzed with activity. Ground crews fueling aircraft with 100-octane aviation gasoline, arming them with 165 gallons in each wing tank and 300 rounds per machine gun. McKenna, wiping sweat from his brow under the relentless sun, noticed something during a pre-flight check on Hayes's Lightning. As he tested the control yoke, there was a subtle delay, a slack of about 3/8 of an inch in the aileron control cables. These steel cables, running from the cockpit through pulleys to the wings, were meant to provide instantaneous response. But factory tolerances allowed for this minor play, which at 300 miles per hour translated to a critical hesitation in rolls. McKenna reported it to his superiors, engineering officers from the 5th Air Depot Group, but they dismissed it. "It's within specs," they said, citing Lockheed's manual that permitted up to half an inch of slack for safety in extreme temperatures. Unauthorized modifications were strictly forbidden, punishable by court-martial. Yet, as Japanese raids intensified, the tension built. On August 15th, just 2 days prior, a formation of 20 Zeros from the 201st Kokutai had strafed Allied positions at Tsili, downing 2 P-38s from the 475th Fighter Group in twisting dogfights. Pilots returned with harrowing tales. The deafening roar of engines as Zeros looped overhead, the acrid smell of cordite from futile bursts of fire, the sheer terror as American planes lumbered through turns while enemies cut inside with ease. By 0600 hours on August 17th, intelligence reports crackled over the radio. A Japanese convoy escorted by fighters was steaming through the Huan Gulf, 150 miles northeast. The 49th Fighter Group scrambled 12 P-38s, including Hayes's, to intercept. As they climbed to 20,000 feet, the pilots scanned the horizon, hearts pounding beneath their leather flight jackets. The Zeros, powered by 940 horsepower Nakajima Sakai engines and armed with two 7.7mm Type 97 machine guns and two 20mm Type 99 cannons, numbered 18 strong, outnumbering the Americans nearly 2-1. Little did Hayes know, McKenna had defied orders the night before. In the dim light of a kerosene lamp, hidden in a maintenance tent amid the chirping of jungle insects, the mechanic had scavenged a 6-inch piece of piano wire from a wrecked P-40 Warhawk. He bent it into a simple Z-shape, inserting it as an inline tensioner on the left aileron cable. It took just 8 minutes, adding a mere 0.4 pounds of tension and eliminating the slack entirely. "Stupid simple," McKenna muttered to himself, but he knew it could make all the difference. Formation approached the Gulf at 0740 hours. Radar picked up the enemy at 30 miles out. The P-38s dove from the sun, engines whining in high pitch, closing the distance to just 5 miles in under 2 minutes. The first bursts of tracer fire lit the sky, and chaos erupted. Zeros peeled off in pairs, luring Americans into turns. One P-38 from the 431st Squadron took hits to its right boom, spiraling down in flames just 200 yards from Hayes. The young lieutenant felt fear grip his throat, the bitter taste of adrenaline, the vibration of his aircraft under full throttle. By 0745 hours, the dogfight had fragmented into individual duels, with Zeros circling like sharks. Hayes found himself isolated, 2 enemies on his tail, their cannons barking shells that whistled past his canopy. The situation worsened as the minutes ticked by. For 3 brutal hours, though it felt like eternity, the battle raged. American losses mounted. For P-38s confirmed down by 0900 hours, their pilots bailing out into the shark-infested waters below. The Japanese, flying from Rabaul's Lakunai airfield, pressed their advantage, their lighter aircraft executing Immelman turns that the standard Lightnings couldn't match. Hayes evaded one burst, but another Zero closed to 100 yards, its pilot, perhaps a veteran with the Tainan Air Group, aligning for the kill. The air filled with the stench of burning oil from a stricken ally nearby, and radio chatter crackled with desperate calls. "Bandits at 6 o'clock! Break left!" Against impossible odds, with his squadron scattered and ammunition dwindling, Hayes prepared for what seemed like his final maneuver. At 0747 hours, everything seemed lost for Lieutenant Hayes. His P-38, now pursued by 3 Zeros in a deadly Loughbury circle, a defensive formation turned offensive, the aircraft strained against the G-forces. The jungle below blurred into a green haze, the ocean a glittering trap 15,000 feet down. The slack in unmodified Lightnings would have doomed him here. A split-second delay in rolling meant the difference between evasion and annihilation. Bullets riddled his left wing, puncturing a fuel tank and sending a trail of vapor streaming behind. Pain shot through his shoulder from the violent maneuvers, and sweat stung his eyes beneath the goggles. Hayes, isolated now at 10,000 feet, faced the impossible. The lead Zero, closing to 50 yards, unleashed a barrage that shattered his windshield, shards embedding in his flight suit. The deafening roar of his own engines mixed with the staccato of enemy fire. "I'm hit. Going down," he radioed, but static drowned his words. Against the bitter humidity and the relentless pull of gravity, determination flickered. Memories of training at Luke Field, Arizona, flashed by. But with standard controls, reversal was futile. The slack would delay his roll, leaving him exposed. The weight of command fell on individual shoulders here. No generals in the cockpit, just sheer will against steel and fire. What happened next would become legendary. But in that moment, defeat loomed as inevitably as the crashing waves below. In the midst of despair, Hayes yanked the control yoke left. Thanks to McKenna's stupid fix, that humble Z-shaped piano wire, the response was instantaneous. The ailerons bit the air without delay, rolling the P-38 sharper than any Lightning before. Hayes reversed direction in a split-second snap roll, catching the lead Zero off guard. Diving 2,000 feet in 10 seconds, he used the P-38's superior speed, diving at over 500 miles per hour, to zoom climb back up, positioning behind his pursuer. A short burst from his nose guns shredded the Zero's wing, sending it spiraling in flames toward the Gulf. Hayes, now with the edge, engaged the second Zero. Just 100 yards away, he feinted right, then rolled left, the wire ensuring fluid motion, and fired the 20mm cannon, exploding the enemy's cockpit. The third Zero attempted to cut inside, but Hayes's enhanced maneuverability let him tighten his turn radius by 20%, outcircling the lighter foe for the first time. In 7 frantic minutes, he claimed 3 kills, his .50 calibers chewing through 150 rounds each. This turning point rippled outward. Captain Frank Mitchell, witnessing from afar, demanded the mod for his own P-38 upon return. By September 1943, some 40 aircraft in the 5th and 475th Fighter Groups bore the secret wire, installed covertly and removed for inspections. Lieutenant James Watkins, a crew chief at Gussap Airfield, adopted it after radio reports, saving countless lives. Japanese ace Lieutenant Commander Saburo Sakai, with 64 victories, later recounted in his memoir The Shock. P-38s rolling faster than physics allowed, forcing tactical retreats. The human spirit triumphed, McKenna's defiance, Hayes's courage, overcoming engineering oversights through sheer determination. The battle over Huon Gulf on August 17th ended with American victory. 6 Zeros downed against 2 P-38 losses. Hayes returned to Dobodura a hero, his aircraft riddled with 21 holes but intact. Overall casualties shifted dramatically. From August to September 1943, the kill ratio evened to nearly 1-to-1, with 38 Japanese fighters lost to 22 American in late September alone. The wire trick saved an estimated 80 to 100 pilots' lives by improving survival rates in modified squadrons. Lockheed, alerted in November 1943, tested the mod and integrated a similar tensioning system into the P-38J model starting December, though McKenna received no formal credit, only a quiet commendation from his unit. Hayes earned the Distinguished Flying Cross for his triple kill, going on to claim 5 more before war's end. The legacy endures. This stupid fix symbolized American adaptability, turning the P-38 into a legend that produced top aces like Major Richard Bong, 40 kills, and Major Thomas McGuire, 38 kills. It highlighted the human cost, over 2,000 5th Air Force personnel lost in the Pacific, but also the triumph of ingenuity, influencing aircraft design into the jet age and underscoring how one man's wire bent the arc of history. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to the War Archives as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.